Hey guys, it's Cassidy again, and today we're going to read part 3 of Children of Blood and Bone. Chapter 4, Zaylee. Are you really not going to talk to me? I leaned to the side of Nyla's saddle to get a look at Zane's stone face. I expected the first hour of silence, but now is hour 3. How was practice? I try instead. Zane can never resist a conversation about his favorite sport. Is Balu's ankle okay? Do you think she'll be healed in time for the games? Zane's mouth opens for a second, but he catches himself. His jaw clamps shut and he smacks Nyla's reins, riding her faster through the towering jackleberry trees. Zane, come on, I say. You can't ignore me for the rest of your life. I can try. My gods, I say. I roll my eyes. What do you want from me? How about an apology? Zane snaps. Baba almost died, and I just want to sit here and pretend like it never happened? I never said sorry. I already said sorry. I snapped back. To you and to Baba. That doesn't change what happened. That I'm sorry I can't change the past. My yell echoes through the trees, igniting a new stretch of silence between us. I run my fingers along the cracks of worn leather in Nyla's saddle as an uncomfortable pit forms in my chest. For God's sake, think, Zaylee. Mama Agva's voice echoes into my mind. Who would protect your father if you hurt those men? Who would keep Zane safe when the guards come for blood? Zane, I'm sorry, I say quietly. Really. I feel awful, more than you can know. But Zane releases a sigh of exasperation. Of course there's a but. Because this isn't just my fault, I say, my anger reaching a boiling point. The guards are the reason Baba went out in the water. And you are the reason he almost drowned, Zane shoots back. You left him alone. I bite my tongue. There's no point in arguing. Zane doesn't understand why I need Mama Agwa's training. Boys in Aloran fight to be his friend. Girls try to steal his heart. Even the guards flock his way, singing praises of his Adwan skills. He doesn't understand what it's like to be me, to walk around in a diviner's skin, to jump every time a guard appears, never knowing how a confrontation will end. I'll start with this one. My stomach clenches at the memory of the guard's rough grip. Would Zane yell at me if he knew? Would he shout if he realized how hard it was for me not to cry? We ride in silence as the trees begin to thin and the city of Lagos comes into view. Surrounded by a gate crafted from the heartwood of a jackleberry tree, the capital is everything Aloran isn't. Instead of the calming sea, Lagos is flooded with endless hordes of people. Even from afar, so many swell within the city's walls, it's impossible to understand how they all live. I survey the layout of the capital from atop Nyla's back, noting the white hair of passing diviners along the way. Lagos Kosiden outnumber its diviners 3-1, making them easy to spot. Though the space between Lagos's walls is long and wide, my people congregate along the city's fringe and slums. It's the only place they'd allow diviners to live. I settle back in Nyla's saddle, the sight of the slums deflating something in my chest. Centuries ago, the 10 Magi clans and their diviner children were isolated all over Orisha. While Kosiden populated the cities, the clans lived along the mountains and oceans and fields. But with time, Magi ventured out, and clans spread across Orisha's lands, curiosity and opportunity driving their migration. Over the years, Magi and Kosiden began to marry, creating families with diviners and Kosiden like me. As the blended families multiplied, the number of Orisha Magi grew. Before the raid, Lagos housed the biggest Magi population. Now, those diviners are all that's left. Zane pulls on Nyla's reins, stopping her when we near the wooden gate. I'll wait here. It'll be too crazy for her in there. I nod and slide off, giving Nyla's dark, wet nose a kiss. I smile as her rough tongue licks my cheek. But the smile fades when I glance back at Zane. Unspoken words hang in the air, but I turn and keep moving forward all the same. Wait. Zane slides off Nyla, catching up to me in a single bound. He places a rusted dagger into my hand. I have a staff. I know, he says, just in case. I slide the weapon into my warm pocket. Thanks. We stare at the dirt ground in silence. Zane kicks a rock by his feet. I don't know who will break first until he finally speaks. I'm not blind, Zell. I know this morning wasn't all your fault, but I need you to do better. For a moment, Zane's eyes flash, threatening to reveal everything he holds back. Baba's only getting worse, and the guards are breathing down your neck. You can't afford to slip right now. If you make another mistake, it could be your last. I nod, keeping my gaze on the ground. I can handle a lot of things, but Zane's disappointment cuts like a knife. Just do better, Zane sighs. Please, Baba won't survive if he loses you. I won't either. I try to ignore the tightness in my chest. I'm sorry, I whisper. I'll do better, I promise. Good. Zane pastes a smile on his face and ruffles my hair. Enough of this. Go sell the hell out of that fish. I laugh and readjust the straps on my pack. How much do you think I can get? 200. That's it? I cock my head. You really think that lowly of me? That's crazy coin, Zell. I bet you can get more. I bet you I can get more. Zane's smile widens, gleaming with the shine of a good bet. Get above 200 and I'll stay home with Baba next week. Oh, you're on, I grin, already picturing our rematch with Yemi. Let's see how she goes against my new staff. I rush forward, ready to make the trade, but when I reach the checkpoint, my stomach churns at the sight of the royal guards. It's all I can do to keep my body still as I slide my collapsible staff into the waistband of my draped pants. Name? A guard barks, keeping his eyes on the ledger. His dark curls fuzz in the heat, collecting the sweat dripping down his cheeks. Zayli Adebola, I whisper with as much respect as I can muster. No screw-ups. I swallow hard. At least, no more today. The guard barely spares me a glance before writing the information down. Origin? Eloran. Eloran? Short and stout, another guard appears and wobbles as he approaches, using the giant wall to keep himself upright. The pungent smell of alcohol wafts into the air with his unwelcome presence. What's a maggot like you doing so far from home? His words slurred just before incomprehension, dripping from his mouth like the spittle on his chin. My chest clenches as he nears. The drunken gaze in his eyes turns dangerous. Purpose of visit? The tall, thankfully sober guard asks. Trading. At this, a disgusting smile crawls onto the drunk guard's face. He reaches for my wrist, but I back away and raise the wrapped package. Trading fish, I clarify. But despite my words, he lunges forward. I grunt as he wraps his pudgy hands around my neck and presses me to the wooden wall. He leans in so close I can count the black and yellow stains on his teeth. I can see why you're selling the fish, he laughs. What's the going rate for a maggot these days, KN? 2 bronze pieces? My skin crawls and my fingers itch for my hidden staff. It's against the law for Magi and Kosiden to so much kiss after the raid, but it doesn't keep the guards from calling at us like animals. My anger twists into a black rage, a darkness I sensed in Mama whenever the guards dared to get in her way. With its rush, I want to shove him back and snap each of the soldier's fat fingers. But with my rage comes Zane's concern, Baba's heartache, Mama Agba's scolding. Think, Zayli, think of Baba, think of Zane. I promise not to mess this up. I can't let them down now. I repeat this again and again until the brute unhands me. He laughs to himself before taking another swig from his bottle, proud. At ease. I turn toward the other guard, unable to hide the hatred in my eyes. I don't know who I despise more, the drunk for touching me or this bastard for letting it occur. Any other questions? I ask through my teeth. The guard shakes his head. I move through the gate with the speed of a cheetah before either can change his mind. But it only takes a few steps away from the gates before the frenzy of Lagos makes me want to run back outside. My gods, I breathe, overwhelmed by the sheer number of people. Villagers, merchants, guards, and nobles fill the wide dirt roads, each moving with precision and purpose. In the distance, the royal palace looms. Its pristine white walls and gilded arches gleam in the sun. Its presence is a stark contrast to the slums lining the city's fringe. I marvel at the rustic dwellings, breath-catching at the towering shacks. Like a vertical labyrinth, the shanties sit atop one another, each starting where another stops. Though many are brown and fading, others shine with bright paints and colorful art. The vibrant protest defies the title of slum, an ember of beauty where the monarchy sees none. With tentative steps, I begin walking toward the city center. As I pass the slums, I notice the vast majority of the diviners roaming its streets aren't much older than me. In Lagos, it's almost impossible for any diviner children who live through the raid to reach adulthood without being thrown in prison or getting forced into the stocks. Please, I didn't mean to. A sharp cry rings out. I jump as the stalker's cane strikes down in front of me. It cuts through the flesh of the young diviner, leaving bloodstains on the last clean clothes that boil everywhere. The child falls in a pile of broken ceramics, shattered tiles his thin arms probably couldn't hold. The stalker raises his cane again, and this time I catch the gleam of its black magicite shaft. Gods, the acrid smell of burning flesh hits me as the stalker presses the cane into the boy's back. Smoke rises from his skin as he struggles to crawl to his knees. The fish's sight makes my fingers numb, reminding me of my own potential fate in the stalks. Come on, I force myself through as my heart sinks. Move or that'll be you. I rush through the center of Legos, doing my best to ignore the smell of sewage leaking from the slum streets. When I enter the pastel-colored buildings of the merchant's quarter, the odor shifts to sweetbread and cinnamon, making my stomach growl. I brace myself for the barter as the central exchange hums with the sounds of endless trading. But when the bazaar comes into view, I'm forced to stop in my tracks. No matter how often I trade big catch here with Baba, the madness of the central market never ceases to amaze me. More tumultuous than the streets of Lagos, the bazaar is alive with every Eurasian good imaginable. In one row alone, grains from the vast fields of Mina sit alongside coveted ironworks from the factories of Gombe. I walk through the crowded booths, enjoying the sweet smell of fried plantain. With ears perked, I try to catch the pattern of the barter, the speed of every trade. Everyone fights, using the words as knives. It's more cutthroat than the market of Ilorin. Here there's no compromise, only business. I pass wooden stalls of chitinere cubs, smiling at each tiny horn that protrudes from their foreheads. I have to wade past carts of patterned textiles before reaching the fish exchange. 40 bronze pieces. For a tigerfish, I won't pay a piece above 30. The shouts of hagglers at work ring so loud I can barely hear myself think. This isn't the floating market of Ilorin. A regular barter won't work. I bite the inside of my cheek, surveying the crowd. I need a mark. A fool. Some trout, a man shrieks. Do I look like I eat trout? I turn to the plump, noble lad in a dark purple dashiki. He narrows his hazel eyes at the Cosiden merchant like he has just received a grave insult. I have sea robin, the merchant offers. Flounder, bass. I said I want swordfish, the noble snaps. My servant says you refuse to sell it. They aren't in season, yet the king eats it every night. The merchant scratches the back of his head. If a swordfish is caught, it goes to the palace. That's the rule of the land. The noble's face turns red and he pulls out a small velvet purse. What does he offer? He jingles the coins. I'll pay double. The merchant stares at the purse longingly but stays firm. I can't risk it. I can, I shout. The noble turns, eyes narrowed with suspicion. I wave him toward me, away from the merchant's stand. You have swordfish? He asks. Better. A fish no one else in this market can sell you. His mouth falls open, and I feel the same rush I get when a fish circles my bait. I unwrap the sailfish with care and move it under a ray of light so its scales gleam. Skies, the noble gasps. It's magnificent. It tastes even better than it looks. Red-tailed sailfish, fresh from the coast of Ilorin. They're not in season, so you can be sure even the king's not eating this tonight. A smile crawls onto the noble's face, and I know I've made my own catch. He holds out his purse. 50 silver pieces. My eyes widen, but I grit my teeth. 50. 50 gets us by this tax, maybe leaves us enough for a new boat. But if the guards raise the taxes next quarter moon, 50 won't keep me out of the stocks. I let out a loud laugh and start rewrapping the fish. The noble's brow furrows. What are you doing? Taking this jewel to someone who can afford it. How dare you? Forgive me, I interrupt. I don't have time for a man who pays 50 for a prize worth 10 times that much. The noble grumbles, but he reaches into his pocket and pulls out another velvet purse. You won't get a piece above 300. My gods. I dig my feet into the dirt to keep myself from wobbling. That's more than we've ever seen in our lives. At least 3 moons of taxes, even if they're raised. I open my mouth to take the deal, but something in the noble's eyes makes me hesitate. If he folded so quickly on the last offer, maybe he'll fold again. Take it. Take it. I imagine Zane warning. It's more than enough, but I'm far too close to stop now. I'm sorry. I shrug and finish wrapping the sailfish. I can't waste a meal for a king on someone who can't afford it. The noble's nostrils flare. Gods, I may have gone too far. I wait for him to break, but he only seethes in silence. I'm forced to walk away. Each step lasts an eternity as I crumble under the weight of my mistake. I'll find another one, I tell myself. Another noble desperate to prove his worth. I can do better than 300. This fish is worth more than that, right? Damn it. I almost ran my head against a shrimp stall. What am I going to do? Who's going to be stupid enough to... Wait! As I turn, the plump noble shoves 3 jiggling purses into my chest. Fine, he grumbles in defeat. 500. I stare at him in disbelief, which he mistakes for doubt. Count them if you must. I open one purse, and the sight is so beautiful I nearly cry. The silver shines like the scales of the sailfish, its weight a promise of things to come. 500. After a new boat, that's almost a year's worth of rest for Baba. Finally, I've done something right. I hand the fish to the noble, and I'm unable to hide my glowing smile. Enjoy. Tonight you'll eat better than the king. The noble sneers, but the corners of his mouth twitch up in satisfaction. I slide the velvet purses into my bag and start walking, heart buzzing so quickly it rivals the insanity of the market. But I freeze when a scream fills the air. This isn't the sound of haggling. What the... I jump back as a fruit stand explodes. A troop of royal guards charges through. Mangoes and Aritian peaches fly through the air. Second by second, more guards flood the market, searching for something. Someone. I stare at the commotion in bewilderment before realizing I have to move. There are 500 pieces in this pack. For once, I have more than my life to lose. I push through the crowd with a new fervor, desperate to escape. I'm almost past the textiles when someone grabs my wrist. What in God's name? I whip out my compacted staff, expecting to meet the arm of a royal guard or a petty thief. But when I turn, it's neither a guard nor a crook who's grabbed me. It's a cloaked, amber-eyed girl. She pulls me into a hidden opening between 2 stalls with a grip so tight I can't find my way free. Please, she begs, you have to get me out of here. Chapter 5. Zaylee. For a moment, I can't breathe. The copper-skinned girl shakes with a fear so visceral it leaps into my skin. Shouts grow louder as the guards thunder by, getting closer with each passing second. They can't catch me with this girl. If they do, I'll die. Let me go, I order, almost desperate as she is. No, please. Tears well in her amber eyes and her grip tightens. Please help me, I've done something unforgivable. If they catch me. Her eyes fill with the terror that is all too familiar. Because when they catch her, it's not a matter of whether she'll die. It's only a question of when. You must protect those who can't defend themselves. Mama Agwa's words from this morning seep into my head. I picture her stern gaze. That is the way of the staff. I can't, I breathe, but even as the words leave my mouth, I brace myself for the fight. Damn it. It doesn't matter if I can help. I won't be able to live with myself if I don't. Come on. I grab the girl's arm and barge into a clothing stall larger than the rest. Before the cloth merchant can scream, I put my hand over her mouth and press Zane's dagger to her neck. What are you doing? The girl asks. I inspect her cloak. How did she even make it this far? The girl's copper skin and thick robe scream of noble blood, rich with velvet and golden hues. Put on that brown cloak, I order her before turning back to the merchant. Beads of sweat drip down her skin. With a diviner thief, one wrong move could be your last. I'm not going to hurt you, I promise. I just need to make a trade. I peek out the front of the stall as the girl changes into the muted cloak, tightening my grasp when the merchant lets out a muffled yell. The market's crawling with enough guards to fill an army. The scrambling traders and villagers add to the chaos. I search for a way out of the madness, but no escape route emerges. We have no choice. We just have to test our fortune. I duck back into the stall as the girl pulls the hood of her new cloak low over her forehead. I grab the fine robe she was wearing and shove it into the merchant's hands. The fear in the trader's eyes dims as the soft velvet passes through her fingers. I lower the dagger from her neck and grab a cloak of my own, hiding my white hair under its dark hood. Are you ready? I ask. The girl manages a nod. A hint of determination flashes in her eyes, but I detect a paralyzing terror. Follow me. We exit the stall and step into the pandemonium. The guards stop right in front of us. Our brown cloaks act as a shield. They're searching for noble blood. Thank the gods. Maybe we actually have a chance. Walk quickly, I hiss under my breath as we move through the spaces between the textile stalls. But don't. I grab her by the cloak before she goes to work. Don't run. You'll draw attention. Blend into the crowd. The girl nods and tries to speak, but no words come out. We push through the crowd until we reach the market's edge. The guards cover the main entrance. There's an opening on the side manned by only one guard. When he steps forward to interrogate a noble, I spot our chance. Quick. I squeeze behind a stock trader's stall to slip from the crowded market down the stone streets of the merchant quarter. I breathe a sigh of relief as the girl's petite frame breaks free. But when we turn, 2 hulking guards block our path. Oh gods, my feet skid to a stop. The silver coins jingle in my pack. I glance at the girl, her brown skin lost most of its color. Is there a problem? I ask the guards as innocently as I can. One crosses his needle-like arms. Fugitives on the loose. No one leaves until she's caught. Our mistake. I apologize with a respectful bow. We'll wait inside. Damn it. I turn and walk toward the stalls, scanning the frantic market. If all the exits are covered, we need a new plan. We need a new way to wait. Though I'm almost back in the market, the girl isn't by my side. I turn to find her frozen before the guards, the slightest tremble visible in her awkwardly placed hands. For God's sake. I will open my mouth to hiss her name, but I don't even know it. I've risked everything for a stranger, and now she's gonna get us killed. I try to distract the guards, but one is already reaching for the girl's hood. There's no time. I grab my metal rod and flick. Duck. The girl drops to the ground. I whip my staff and smack it against the guard's skull. A sickening crack rings through the air as he collapses into the dirt. Before the other can unsheath his sword, I thrust my staff into his sternum. A hug. With a swift kick to the jaw, he falls back, lying unconscious in the red dirt. Skies. The girl curses like a noble. I retract my staff. Skies is right. Now I've attacked the guards. Now we're really going to die. Zane's imminent fury flashes in my mind as we take off, sprinting as fast as we can through the merchant quarter. Don't screw this up. Get in, get out. Where in that plan did it make sense to help a fugitive? As we tear through the streets lined with pastel-colored buildings, 2 troops of royal guards fight to take us down. Their shouts grow loud. Their footsteps pound even louder. With swords drawn, they close in, only a few paces behind. Do you know where we are? I ask. A little. She pans, eyes wide with panic. Enough to get us to the slums, but head there. She pushes forward, sprinting a step ahead of me to take the lead. I follow her as we run through the stone streets, blowing by confused merchants in our dash. Adrenaline courses through my veins. Heat buzzes beneath my skin. We're not going to make it. There's no way we'll escape. Relax, I hear Mama Iba in my head. I force myself to take a deep breath. Be resourceful, use the surroundings to your advantage. I scan the compact streets of the merchant quarter in desperation. As we round the corner, I spy a towering stack of wooden barrels. That'll do. I expand my staff and take a giant swing at the tower's base. When the first barrel comes crashing to the ground, I know the rest are soon to follow. The guards' screams fill the air as the barrels take them down. The diversion gives us enough time to sprint into the slums and stop to catch our breaths. What now? The girl gasps. You don't know the way out? She shakes her head, sweat dripping down her face. I've never been to this part of town. This way, I point to the street opposite the merchant quarter. If that way leads toward the city center, this has to lead out. We kick up clouds of dirt, running as fast as we can, but a troop of guards cuts us off. We have no choice but to dash the other way. Skies, the girl gasps as we race through an alley, rallying up a group of homeless Kosidan. For a moment, I'm amazed she's made it this far. I doubt evading her soldiers was part of her noble education. We round another corner, just paces ahead of the guards. I push myself to run faster when the girl yanks me back. What are you? She presses her hand to my mouth and pushes me against the shanty's wall. It's only then that I notice the narrow space we've squeezed between. Please work. For the second time in over a decade, I lift up a prayer, calling to any guard who might still be there, any god who might still be there. Please, I beg. Please, please hide us. My heart threatens to break free of my ribcage, pounding so hard I'm convinced the sound will give us away. But when the troop nears, they rumble by like rhinos catching prey. I look up to the sky, blinking as the clouds pass overhead. Bright rays of light shine in between their gaps. It's almost like the gods have risen from the dead, resurrected from their graveyard formed after the carnage of the raid. Whatever's up there is blessing me. I just hope that this blessing doesn't run out. We shimmy out of the crawl space and tear down another path, accidentally slamming into a pair of curious diviners. One drops his bottle of rum, and the sharp scent wafts into my nose, so strong my nostrils burn. With its odor, another lesson from Mama Agba's hut resurfaces. I scoop the bottle off the ground and scan the streets for my missing ingredient. There. It's only a few meters from the girl's head. Grab the torch. What? The torch, I shriek. The one right in front of you. It takes her a second to wrestle the metal torch from its hold, but when she does, we take off running. As we pass the last of the slums, I rip a piece of cloth from my cloak and stuff it into the bottle. What is this for? She asks. Let's hope you don't find out. We break free of the slums, and the wooden gate of Lagos's entrance comes into view. The key to our escape. Barred by a royal blockade. My stomach sinks as we skid to a halt before the endless line of armed guards. The soldiers ride menacing black panthers, each giant beast baring its fangs. Their dark fur shines like a thin layer of oil under the sun, matte rainbows of color embedded throughout their black coats. Even as the panthers crouch, they still tower over us, primed and ready to pounce. You're surrounded, the captain's amber eyes bore into me. By the decree of King Saren, I order you to halt. Unlike his soldiers, the captain rides a vicious snow leopard nearly as big as my hut. 8 thick horns protrude from its back, sharp and glistening in black. The monster licks its long serrated fangs as it snarls, eager to decorate its spotted white coat with our blood. The captain has the same dark copper complexion as the girl, skin free of wrinkles and scars of battle. When the girl sees him, her hands fly to her hood, her legs begin to shake. Though the captain is young, the guards follow his lead without question. One by one, each soldier unsheaths his sword, pointing the blades our way. It's over, the girl breathes in dismay. Tears stream down her face as she kneels to the ground. She drops her torch in defeat and pulls out a scroll of wrinkled parchment. I pretend to follow her lead and crouch, touching the cloth in my bottle to the torch's flame. The acrid stench of smoke fills my nose. As the captain closes in, I hurl the weapon at the line of panthers. Come on, I will the glass bottle, trailing its arc with my eyes. As it flies, I worry nothing will happen. Then the world erupts in flames. The fire burns brilliantly, sweeping men and horned panthers into its blaze. The beasts howl in hysteria, bucking their riders in an attempt to get away. The girl stares in horror, but I grab her arm and force her to move. We're only a few meters away from the gate now, only a few meters away from freedom. Close the gate, the captain yells as I brush by. The girl crashes into him, but manages to slip through his grasp when he stumbles. The metal gears groan and churn, and the wooden gate starts falling down. The checkpoint guards brandish their weapons, our last obstacles to freedom. We won't make it, the girl wheezes. We don't have a choice. I sprint faster than I knew it was possible to. The drunk guard from before unsheaths his sword, raising his arm to slash. His sluggish movement invites more laughter than fear. I smack his skull with a vengeance, taking an extra second to knee him in the groin when he drops. Another guard manages to get in a swing of his sword, but it's easy to block with my staff. I spin the metal rod in my hands, knocking the sword from his grip. His eyes widen as I deliver a roundhouse kick to the face, slamming him against the wooden gate before I pass. We did it, I want to scream as I run under the cover of the jackleberry trees. I turn to smile at the girl, but she's not there. My heart seizes as I watch her tumble to the ground, a finger's breadth from the gate. Clouds of dirt greet her fall. No, I shriek. The gate's only moments away from shutting. After all that, she's not going to make it. After coming so close, she's gonna die. Run, I order myself. Escape. You have Zane, Baba. You've done all you can. But the despair in her eyes pulls me back, and I know my blessings have run out. Despite every protest in my body, I dash through the gates, rolling through moments before they slam shut. You're done, the captain steps forward, bloody from the firebomb. Drop your weapon, now. It seems like every guard in Lagos is staring us down. They circle us in droves, blocking each path before we can attempt another escape. I pull the girl to her feet and hold my staff high. This ends here. They will not take me. I'll force them to kill me where I stand. My heart slams against my chest as the guards close in. I take a moment to enjoy my last breaths, picturing Mama's soft eyes, her ebony skin. I'm coming, I think to her spirit. She probably roams Alafia now, floating through the peace of the afterlife. I imagine myself beside her. I'll be with you soon. A thunderous roar rings through the air, freezing the guards in their steps. The cry grows louder and louder, deafening in its approach. I barely have enough time to pull the girl out of harm's way when Nyla's monstrous figure leaps over the gate. Guards tumble back in fear as my lioness lands on the dirt path, saliva dripping from her massive fangs. I'm convinced she's actually a hallucination, until I hear Zane shouting from atop Nyla's back. "The hell are you waiting for?" he yells. "Get on." Without wasting another second, I hop onto Nyla's back and pull the girl aboard. We take off, jumping from shack to shack before the shanties crumble under her weight. When Nyla gets enough height, she makes a final leap, falling toward the gate. We've almost cleared it when a shock like lightning surges through my veins. The shock travels through every pore in my skin, igniting my being, catching my breath. Time seems to freeze as I look down, locking eyes with the young captain. An unknown force burns behind his amber gaze, a prison I can't escape. Something in his spirit seems to claw onto mine. But before I can even spend another second locked in his eyes, Nyla flies over the gate, severing our connection. She lands on the ground with a thud and takes off, thundering through the jackalberry trees. My gods, I breathe. Every part of my body screams with strain. I can't believe we actually made it. I can't believe I'm still alive.